Hi guys, David Michael here. I got one of my absolute favorites that I wanted to share with you guys. Xanthosxylum americanus. This is a shrub with a compound leaf, and it has, I don't know whether Dawn can get this in, but it has tiny thorns on it. And these thorns aren't nowhere near as bad as wild rose, but when you get in a thicket of these, they'll definitely make you say words that you don't normally say. These leaves are a compound that resemble ash, but they're really rough. They're nowhere near as large. They feel rough and fuzzy. The underneath side is really light colored, whereas most ash trees, the leaves are bigger and they're glossier, depending on the species. But this one, you crush the leaves, it has kind of a pungent yet zesty smell to it. The xanthosxylum refers to the xylem layer being yellow. And what's neat about this prickly lime ash is the folk name for it. And what's really neat about it is it gets a seed on it about as big as your pinky nail, and it resembles a lime until it ripens, and then it turns a deep maroon. Now, the berries can be used dried and put into a tea, and then that tea used as a mouthwash, and it will kill everything in your mouth as far as bacterias, and it helps with plaque removal, helps with gingivitis, cures bad breath. But again, it's a mouthwash. I've drank the tea, I haven't felt any effects, but it isn't for drinking, it's for washing your mouth out. However, the root of this tree is said to have even more beneficial effects, and I have taken the root bark many times, dried it, and made a mouthwash tea out of it and washed my mouth with it, and you can really tell the difference. It's probably the best natural thing that I've come across for bad breath. Anyway, I pulled one and harvested it, and I wanted to show you that bark. Once I show you the identification of this tree, doesn't get, it's really a sapling, it doesn't get much bigger than 20 foot. I've never seen one bigger than about 15 foot, but if you look, it's kind of mottled with this form of lichen that gets on the bark in white to grayish patches, and you'll see it growing along riversides and creeks, and it'll thorn you up, so you'll recognize it by it hanging on your clothes before anything else. But when you look, it's a compound thorny tree or shrub, and when you crush the leaves, which the actual leaf axils have spines on them too, so you'll note that as a key identifying feature. When you crush the leaves, it's really zesty and pungent. I've chewed on the leaves and they're pretty bitter. Somewhere around here I pulled a sapling that I was going to take home with. Here it is. Now you can see the yellowness that's showing up when the bark is skinned. And what I'll do with this is I'll cut it right here, and I'll wash this up, and then I'll clip it and dry it, air dry it. Then I'll put it in a dehydrator and store it. Later on, when there's an issue, I have canker sores or anything like that, or a family member has canker sores, or dealing with an abscess, I'll make sure they go to a doctor or a dentist. But I always add this to the mouthwash, because every time when I had my wisdom teeth coming in, and I still have them, this was what I used as a kid to rinse my mouth out with, and it got me through those 4 horrible years of bringing in my wisdom teeth. Another neat thing about this nostalgic plant is, with my dad and my grandpa as a kid, wading through the outskirts of the woods, it would hang on me, and I'd always ask what it was. And none of them ever really had an answer. So in my youth, I started to purchase books on tree identification, saplings, shrubs, things of that sort. Not to identify the saplings and shrubs and trees that were in my area, but to find and identify 3 or 4 that none of the old timers or lumberjacks or farmers could identify. But this one's pretty simple. Compound leaf. It has thorns on the underneath side of the leaf axil and tiny thorns, woody thorns, on the tree stalk itself. And it has a white grayish lichen that gets on the bark and gives it a mottled look. Grows along stream sides, gravel pits, the outskirts of woods, and gets pretty thick. Xanthoxylum americanus, prickly lime ash. Happy foraging, guys. If you like these videos, please hit the like button. If you want to see more made like it, please subscribe. And if you want to be notified any of the new videos that Dawn and I decide to upload through the season of harvest that we're going to do this year, please hit the bell icon and you'll be notified. Happy foraging, guys.